Of all the crises faced by this international organization made up of 193 nations, climate change is the one issue that binds us all. But how much trouble are we really in?
A lot of trouble. Climate change is linked with more extreme weather events, whether it be more intense and frequent hurricanes, droughts, flooding, and that has implications not just for those events themselves and the displacement of millions of people, but also crop failures. You're looking at the collapse of ecosystems. You're looking at urban systems being put under pressure in terms of flooding and infrastructure.
But the world has had an ambitious plan to deal with this. Here at the United Nations in April 2016, member nations signed on to the landmark Paris climate deal to limit the rise in global temperatures to 1.5 degrees. The challenge, however, has been on how to follow through on promises and ramp up levels of ambition. To increase momentum, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres wants world leaders to go beyond speeches and deliver concrete commitments. Ahead of his Climate Action Summit, the UN chief asked countries to ramp up efforts to go carbon neutral by 2050. He also wants nations to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 45% in the next decade and increase contributions to the Green Climate Fund to support developing nations.
I'm convinced that we will come out of the summit with an enhanced momentum, not with all problems solved, but with an enhanced momentum.
One nation unlikely to cough up commitments is the United States. Since his 2017 announcement to exit the climate deal, U.S. President Donald Trump has thrown his support behind the U.S. coal industry, authorized the construction of the controversial Dakota oil pipeline, rolled back restrictions on methane pollution, and is revoking California's authority to set vehicle emission standards. The U.S. disengagement has inadvertently allowed other nations to take the lead on climate.
I think that still the Europeans, such as the French and the UK, are the real intellectual leaders on climate diplomacy at the UN, but China's role is unquestionably rising. Everyone grasps that with the US, at least temporarily, outside climate diplomacy, China's position is absolutely crucial to the entire credibility of efforts to fight climate change through the UN.
Climate change is back to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The UN's efforts has also received a boost from a youth climate movement galvanized by teenage activists, including Greta Thunberg, who is in New York for climate strikes as well as the Climate Action Summit. Liling Tan, CGTN at the United Nations.